What's up guys, Onmaths here, and today we're looking at trigonometry. So, with trigonometry there's some really nice steps you can follow to solve any trigonometry problem. And we're just looking at normal trigonometry, not the further trigonometry. So we're not looking at the sine rule, the cosine rule, area of a triangle, anything like that. It's just with a right angled triangle for this video. But we are going to have a question on exact values for trigonometry, so the non-calculator questions, or question will be the last one. So we've got a nice simple-ish one here, and it just asks us to calculate the value of AB. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to label that X because it just makes the working out a little bit easier to show. You could just write AB, but I'm just going to use X. So the steps to work this out is, first of all, you label the sides. Now, the easiest one to label is the hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle. So I label that with a H. Then the one opposite the marked angle is going to be the opposite, so O. And the one left over, and normally, it's going to be between the marked angle and the right angle, is going to be the adjacent. And the adjacent just means next to. So it's next to the marked angle and next to the right angle. Step 2 is cross out the one that's not used in the question. So is H used? Well, it's got 15 centimeters next to it. So yes, because it's got a value next to it. Is O used? Well, yeah, because it's the one we're trying to find. So A is no use to us at all, so we cross that out. The next step is to write down the famous SOHCAHTOA. So SOHCAHTOA. And these make little triangles. SOHCAHTOA triangles. So the next step is to write them down. Now you will need to learn SOHCAHTOA off by heart. It's not given to you anywhere on the paper. Okay, next we're going to figure out which one of those triangles we're using. Well, we've got O and H, and A is crossed out. So we cross out the triangles with A because we're not using A, and that leaves SO. So what I do now is draw out the triangle again, just slightly bigger, so we can fit more stuff in it. The S stands for sine angle, so it's going to be sine the angle. Now you're only ever going to sine, cos or tan the angle, so that's going to be sine 23. Okay. The O is the opposite, which is X, and the H is the hypotenuse, which is 15. Now the way these triangles work, which I'm sure you're used to them with speed, distance, time triangles and everything like that, is you put your finger over the one you're trying to find. In this case it's X, and the triangle just tells you how to work it out. It says to times those together. So it's going to be X equals sine 23 times 15. Now I'm really careful with this. I always put the number first and then the sine 23. And I can explain to you why, because when you put it into your calculator, if you try to do sine 23 times 15, so I'm going to do that now, sine 23 times 15, if you forget to close the bracket after the sine, it will do the sine of 23 times 15, which is not what you want. It won't give you the right answer. So if you do 15 times sine 23, then you don't need to close the bracket. If you press equals, the calculator will automatically close the bracket for you. You can even write 15 sine 23, and that works just as well, because the calculator knows that you're going to times them. And the answer to that is 5.86096, blah, blah, blah. It says it wants it to 3 significant figures, so the line goes here, that's the cutoff, and that 0 won't move that 6 up, because it's obviously less than 5, so it's just going to be 5.86. Next up, we've got an OCR question, and it's quite similar to the last question for question B. Question A is kind of just one that you just need to use a bit of logic. So angles in triangle in ratio 1 to 2 to 3 show it's a right angle triangle. So what do we know about triangles? Well, we know that they add up to 180. So what we want to do is split up 180 in the ratio of 1 to 2 to 3. So the first step you're going to do is find out how many parts you have altogether, which is 6. Then you get the amount, which is 180, and divide it by that 6. So 180 divided by 6, which is obviously 30. And then we do 30 times 1, 30 times 2, and 30 times 3. So 30 times 1, 30 times 2, and 30 times 3. So that'll be 30, 60, 90, and you can check it out by just adding them together, and it adds up to 180. So therefore it's going to be 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90 degrees. And we can even draw out the triangle, which might help us with the next question. So we've got kind of a right angled triangle like that, and so we've got 90 there and 30 here, and this doesn't have to be exact, it's just roughly, and 60 there. Cool. Now it says the hypotenuse of the triangle is 15 centimeters, so I'm just going to label that on 15 centimeters, and calculate the shortest side in the triangle. So which is going to be the shortest side? Well, the shortest side is going to be probably the one opposite the 30 degrees, this one here. The reason is that the smaller this angle is, the kind of further stretched out it is in the triangle. So it's going to be this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore that 60. I could have used the 60 and ignored the 30, but I'm just going to choose to do it this way. And I'm going to go through the same steps as I did before with the previous question. So opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. The one opposite the marked angle is the opposite, and the one left over is the adjacent. We're not using the adjacent. The opposite has the x next to it, the hypotenuse has the 15 next to it. Then I'm going to write out my SOHCAHTOA. So SOHCAHTOA. And again, we're using sine, so we're going to cross out the other two and just draw a slightly bigger triangle. Okay, so we've got sine the angle, so we're using the 30. We've got x on the top, and we've got 15 down below. So it's exactly the same working out, isn't it? And put that 15 first. So get my calculator out. 15 sine 30 is going to be 7.5. We should really know that. We shouldn't need a calculator to work that out. And in fact, we don't have a calculator because paper 5 is a non-calculator paper for OCR, which I completely forgot until I just thought about it. So with this one, you just need to know what sine 30 is. Okay, so sine 30 you need to know is a half. So let's do a little bit more working out now that I know, now that I've remembered that I don't have a calculator. So it's 15 times a half, which is 7.5. Now I have a very, very long video on how to remember the sine, cos and tan ratios, which if I remember I'll link to I'll make a card appear now. I'm not going to go through how to remember the sine, cos and tan exact ratios that you need to know for the exam, and it will be useful for the next question, so let's move on. So we're finally on the last question, which is the AQA question, and this you do need to know the exact ratios of certain numbers for sine, cos and tan. I'm going to push a different video which I go through all of that. So if you're not quite sure how to remember them, and there's tables on the internet and on our website for the sine, cos and tan ones you need to remember, then just go and watch that video, and hopefully this will make more sense. So from memory, you need to know that cos 30 is root 3 over 2. You need to know that tan 60 is root 3. And you need to know that sine 30, which we've just done in the previous question, is a half. Okay? Now, you need to know about surds to be able to answer this. And we're going to do this bit first. We're going to times them first, because obviously BIDMAS and all that. And you need to know that when you times, first of all, when you times a fraction by a number, you actually just times the numerator. So we're doing root 3 times root 3. With surds, when you have two surds that are times together, you actually just times the numbers. So that becomes root 9. Now root 9 is just 3. So it becomes 3 over 2. And then we've got that plus half. And then obviously you add the tops. That's 4 over 2, which is just equal to 2. And I haven't laid that out, working out perfectly, but just bear in mind this is the very last question on this AQA paper. So this was kind of the final question on the paper. And really, it's just about memory. You've just got to remember what cos 30, tan 60, and sine 30 are, and then just know a little bit about surds. And we are going to cover surds in a future video. So if you're a bit confused about why root 3 times root 3 is 3, then we'll go through it in a future video. And we've got videos on our website on surds, so just search them up. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please click like and keep the comments coming in, because they're always useful, of future videos we might make. Just keep your suggestions coming in. If you want to see more from us, we release videos every single weekday, Monday to Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Just click subscribe and the bell icon to make sure you're notified. If you haven't already, which I'm sure you have, check out our website onmaths.com, which is packed full of free resources to help you with your maths going forward. And there will even be a link that magically appears above the screen now to take you right there. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you tomorrow.